And did you learn to interpret these communication skills over time, or was this something you were exposed to before?
Well, I mean, you know, in college, I took a psychology class that helped, but most of it's just experience. I mean, I've worked with people since I was 14, so I've learned to really kind of gauge how people are going to react in any given situation, read expressions, read body language, and then, you know, communicate well. So.
All right. What are the challenges of effectively communicating with clients or other 3D artists from a different cultural background?
Different cultural background. Primarily, I would say it's I guess it would be the culture itself. I mean, sometimes, you know, the way things are said in one culture can be offensive in another. How people relate to each other in different cultures can be a challenge because of, you know, religious background, you know, just overall job experience. I mean, it's you know, that type of thing. But I have noticed, you know, working virtually with people from other cultures, is that when you are when you're working in the same industry, even though there might be some personal cultural differences that may cause some conflict, or you may have to be careful what you say because how you say it might be offensive, even though it's not offensive in our culture or whatever. But when you're discussing a field that everyone's aware of, then that kind of breaks down those cultural barriers, and you know, communication along those lines become a little bit more universal.
Okay.
It seems like, to me, at least.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. How much time do you dedicate to learning new software or new features and software updates?
Quite a bit. Software updates happen, you know, with some software almost daily, some weekly, and if it is something that's critical to what I'm doing when I'm teaching, then you know, it's a no-brainer. I have to learn it. So I don't have a set period of time where I'm learning new software, but you know, generally if something new's come out, you know, within a day or two of me getting it, I'm going to start learning it, just because it's probably something that I'm going to have to eventually teach my students. So it's a daily thing. It's a daily process for me. I'm constantly upgrading my skills with software and new workflows and such.
That sounds about right if you want to stay competitive. Does personal training software from industry-related magazines like 3D World or Imagine FX, do those look good on a resume?
I think if you take what you've learned and apply it to your own projects, yes. But strictly doing a monkey see, monkey do, and we take this project and put it on my resume, not so much, because everyone's going to see it and know that's, you know, what you did. You know, that you've basically taken a tutorial and put it on your demo reel or your portfolio. But if you take what you've learned there, if you go through the tutorial once, this is what I tell students: go through the tutorial once, and then go back and apply it to whatever it is you're doing. Okay. And I think it's more beneficial that way.
Okay. Is it worth noting, or should you just take those skills and run with those?
There's really no need to note it in a portfolio.
I got you.
Your skills will speak for themselves.
Sure. Should I put emphasis on certain skill sets for an interview with a company?
Depends on the company. I mean, if you're and the job, of course. You know, if you're you know, wanting to work for BioWare in Austin and they need an animator, then you have to put emphasis on your animation. If they need an environmental artist, then you need to put emphasis on environment art and texturing, things like that, in your demo reel and portfolio. So it has to be company specific and job specific. If you create a generic kind of vanilla cover everything real or portfolio, you're less likely to get the attention of the people who are in charge of hiring in those areas.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. What would you say is the best format to present your personal work to a company?
DVD and website. Website because they can access it from anywhere. They have an internet connection. And DVD because some companies do want you to put your portfolio and or your demo reel on a DVD so they can just pop it in and kind of show it to people, you know, in a board meeting or whatever. So that would be the two ways. Sometimes they'll want you to bring in like a physical portfolio or send in copies or samples of your work. But I think nowadays more and more people are like, you know, send me a link to your online portfolio.
Oh, okay.
And having your reel online as well, you know.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Okay. Tell me about a demo reel and what that entails.
Basically, a demo reel is just a video kind of portfolio of your work. Whereas a portfolio, you've got a lot of static images and such. With a demo reel, you're demonstrating in a video format samples of your animation, modeling, lighting, whatever it is that you're good at. You know,
Okay.
showcase that. No more than 3 minutes long. You always put your best work first, because oftentimes, you know, art directors are going to sit down and it may be that one piece they'll say, okay, you know what, we need this guy, and they won't care about everything else. So if you put your best work at the end and they see your worst work first, they're going to toss it.
Right.
Put your best work first. You know, you might have 3 minutes. They might look at 30 seconds of it and be like, okay, great. Or they may only have time to look at 30 seconds of it.
Right.
So if you're going to shortchange yourself, you don't put your best work first.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. All right. What sorts of communication would be acceptable to have with a company that declines your application?
If they decline it, send them a kind of a thank you letter anyway, and ask them to keep your work on file in case an opening does turn up. Most companies will do that for about 6 months or so, and and then after that 6-month period, you might check back in with them to see if anything's changed, and you can continue a conversation that way with the company. You don't want to bug them, but you know, you also want to let them know that you're still interested even 6 months later. If you're serious about joining that company, letting them know that will be like, wow, you know, maybe we should keep this guy on tap, you know, just in case something comes up, because you never know. They may need someone to do some freelance work.
Oh,
so,
okay.
you know, but you always want to give them a thank you letter, whether or not you got the job. You know, you always thank them for giving you the interview or taking the time to look at your demo reel.
Oh, okay. So, like, say after that 6-month period, you would want to talk to them again and be like, I know y'all had questions about these areas of my profession. I've been doing this and this and this.
That's a possibility. You can ask to resubmit work. You know, basically, if you've tried to get hired at a company, you've probably got someone's email. You know, without being overly overbearing, but say, hey, here are some samples of some updated work since we last talked,
Okay.
and you might have gained a skill or a talent that they need.
Okay.
So, absolutely.
Excellent. All right. Do you have any final thoughts or advice to give me?
Just when you're looking for a job, keep a positive attitude, and be persistent, and don't always jump on the very first job you might get accepted at. Look around, because you kind of want to keep yourself, you want to keep your options open, but you don't want to shortchange yourself either.
Right.
But definitely stay positive, be persistent, be courteous, and be excited. Be excited.
That's awesome. Well, Sean, once again, I'd like to thank you for this opportunity to learn.
No problem.
And that will conclude this interview.